The biggest winners and losers of the trade deadline. Let's start off with the winners first. Not in order, but the first winner is going to be the St. Louis Cardinals getting Eric Fedde and Tommy Pham for almost nothing in a 3-team deal with the White Sox and Dodgers. Pham is a great bat against lefties, and Eric Fedde was a must in a struggling Cardinals rotation. They also got Sean Armstrong from the Rays, giving up Dylan Carlson. Carlson still with a lot of hype, but just really never worked out after his rookie campaign. I'm sure the Rays are going to fix him, but Armstrong is a solid arm. The second winner is the Los Angeles Dodgers. First off, getting Jack Flaherty at the buzzer of the deadline. I'm still in shock at how cheap they got him for prospect-wise. And getting Kevin Kiermaier from the Dodgers, a nice late-game defensive replacement. They got a lot of great defense on that Dodgers team. And then they also got some middle infield help with Tommy Edman and Ahmad Rosario. Rosario is going to be a big upgrade over who they have right now. If it's in the outfield, if it's in the middle of the infield, then Tommy Edman is still trying to rehab and come back soon. Winner number 3 is the Royals. They had a really underrated deadline, first getting Paul DeJong from the White Sox. He led that White Sox team in home runs with 18. He could be a nice late bench bat for them if they're down by a run in the 8th or 9th. And they just need a pop, get them out of there, tie the game, win the game, whatever. Lucas Erceg from the Athletics, the top of the top relievers were way too expensive. Erceg is going to fill in nicely to a bullpen that desperately needed it. Also getting Michael Lorenzen. The Royals' rotation has been one of the best parts of that team, probably just second to Bobby Witt Jr. They just need that back in the rotation starter. Lorenzen fits that perfectly. We also have 2 sellers that did a great job. First off, in Miami, the Marlins selling Tanner Scott, a rental reliever, for a top 50 prospect in all of baseball, sending him to the Padres, sending Brian De La Cruz to the Pirates. Nothing too crazy back for him, but he was part of that struggling Marlins offense. Their biggest move, headliner-wise, was selling Jazz Chisholm Jr. to the Yankees. All 3 prospects they got back are having great years, with Ramirez headlining that, and the Marlins have done a great job with arms. They need some younger offensive prospects to fill in also. They got it there. One of their trades that really shocked me was selling Trevor Rogers. No, not trading him, but getting what they got back for him. First, it was announced they got Connor Norby. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. I didn't think they'd get that much. Then they added Kyle Stowers. It came out just a few minutes after that. That was the deal. An absolute shock. Rogers is a fine starter, but in no way did I think he was worth those guys. Then they also sold like 10 relievers too. If you're the Marlins, you don't need those guys. Get any prospects you get back for them is a W. And then also the Blue Jays were sellers. They did a great job. The main reason they're on here is because of what they got for Yusei Kikuchi. This guy, not a great year, especially his last 7 starts. He was abysmal. Somehow they got the Astros to pay what they got for him. Insane deal by Toronto. Really set the starting pitcher market and did a great job for them. Traded Justin Turner, Kevin Kiermaier. They sold IK off to the Pirates. Got a nice prospect back for him. Danny Jansen was a rental. They got 3 solid prospects for him. They sold guys that were expiring contracts, and they got some good prospects back. They did a great job setting up their future and maybe helping them in 2025 with Vladdy and Bichette still. These teams weren't in my top 5, but the Mets, Mariners, and Guardians also did a fantastic job. Had to give them a little bit of love also. Here are the 5 biggest losers. Again, not in any specific order, but actually this team, if there was an order, is number 1. The Colorado Rockies. They cut Cal Quantrill and Elias Diaz. They saw the seller's market and then kept both those guys who are having whatever fine years, and they're going to lose them for nothing instead. Prime Rockies. White Sox are the second loser here. If they did one thing right, it was not trading Crochet and Luis Robert Jr. just to trade them and say they did it, get a whatever prospect back for them. Instead, they kept them. They held a price. I respect that. But the reason they are on here is because you saw what other teams were getting as sellers. They went and traded Tommy Pham and Eric Fedde, who was one of the top starting pitchers that got traded this year. You look at their package compared to others, laughable. 3 of the Milwaukee Brewers. Put my own team on here. You cannot call me biased. Their biggest holes was guys you can trust in the rotation and a backup infielder. They did not get that. Now they have had a lot of injuries in the bullpen. They might have fixed that a little bit getting Nick Mears, although he is 1 for 2 in his outing so far, so he's very iffy as it is too. But the Brewers saw the Dodgers, who they're chasing for the 2 seed, and the rest of the division, except for the Reds, get better while they pretty much stood put. The Minnesota Twins, they had the quietest deadline of any contender. Only thing they did was picking up a middle reliever from the Blue Jays. Not a good job. They saw Kansas City and Cleveland, both teams I mentioned as winners, do a lot. They really set themselves up in the worst way possible to not just not win the Central, but also maybe cost themselves a spot in October altogether. And my last loser is going to be the Detroit Tigers. They're on here for one reason only, the return they got for Jack Flaherty. How are you going to let these other pitchers who are not even close to as good and also not under control for any longer get much better deals than the top starter that was traded? They got now their number 5 prospect, a 21-year-old in A+ ball who was struggling a lot, and then Trey Sweeney, who has not really been pretty, being a first rounder of the Yankees 3 years ago. I don't know if I can actually believe that that was the best prospect deal that they got for the top starter on the market. Cannot believe it. But those are my 5 biggest winners and 5 biggest losers of the deadline. Who do you think won the deadline? Who do you think lost the deadline? Other than that, guys, hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video.